Hi, today I'm going to talk to you about this pen. This is a vintage pen, one that I've restored myself. It is as you can guess by the arrow on the clip, it is a Parker, and this one is a Parker Victory. So that means it was made in England for the English and European market, and they produced the Victories from sometime in the 1940s. I'm not sure if it was right near the end of the war or until after the war, but they made the Parker Victories then, and they made them right through into the 50s, maybe up into the 60s. But this one is the latest version. This is considered the Mark IV. No, Mark V. That was the last one, Mark V. And you can tell it a few different ways. The telltale way is, of course, the aerometric Parker filler, which came out after they invented the Parker 51, and the cap band, which is wider and has chevrons on it. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all the pieces of the pen. I'm going to give this pen some ratings out of 5, rating the design, the comfort, and the writing experience, and then I'm going to do a writing sample, and then I'm going to be done. So let's look at the parts of the pen. Okay, so let's look at the parts of the pen. Let's start with the cap. At the top we have a burgundy jewel, matches the plastic of the pen body and cap. It's got gold-plated trim, goes around the jewel, and then we have the arrow clip, making this very unmistakably a Parker pen. Very standard shaped cap, and it's got vent holes on either side. And then we have a cap band, gold-plated, and it's got the alternating angled lines, kind of chevrons going around it. Has a blank spot here. A lot of these pens have that. I'm not sure why. Was it supposed to be for engraving your name? I don't know. And then it tapers in slightly down there. The barrel goes out a bit there, comes around to the point. No blind cap, just a solid piece of plastic. The imprint on this one is clear, not super crisp, but it says Parker Victory, registered TM, made in England. Probably can't show that up here, but you can see that they're there. When we get to the section is very small, pretty common for these pens. And then we have the threads, a little bit of step down there. Threads aren't super sharp, but not uncomfortable. This pen fits in your hand, or my hand anyways, but can be posted. It's not too big posted, it's not top heavy. It kind of feels pretty nice posted. Even unposted you can write with it. Yeah, so it's then we have the nib, and it's a 14K nib, says Parker, 14K England, 1 0 space and a 4. I believe this was made in the second quarter of 1954, I believe. It's definitely from the 1950s. And you can know that because we have an aerometric Parker converter. Once they came out with the fancy Parker 51s, they converted a lot of these pens that, for example, the earlier Victories had were button filled, but when they came out with this aerometric converter, a lot of their pens, especially their more affordable lower end pens, got the aerometric converter. And the nib is nice. It's got a medium to a broad line, which is actually super nice. And that's about it. So those are the parts of the pen. Okay, so those are the parts of the pen. Let's give this pen some ratings. So for design, I'm going to give this pen a 3. Only because I don't really want to get into like 3.25, because I don't think it's quite a 3.5, but it's I like it better than the 3 indicates, but I'll give it a 3. Only because I find it a little bit boring, the design-wise. I think that this is not the nicest clip design that they ever came out with. some people might like it. Very simple. I do like the fact that the jewel is the same material as a pen. Little chevrons in the band is nice. The gold plating is okay. Just doesn't blow me away for design. But yeah, for comfort, I give it a 3 as well. Kind of because it's got no hourglass shape to it, so it's just a straight taper down, so that's not as comfortable. It's very narrow. It's the aromatic filling system isn't my favorite filling system in the works, which is, hey, that says a lot actually. Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not the most comfortable. It does fit in my hand really nicely, I gotta say. The size that way is good. Weight's okay. You can post it. But comfort is not the most comfortable writing experience, so I'm giving it a 4. It's really nice to write with. It's very smooth. Nice wet broad line variation in there. So I gotta say that I really like writing with it. I like writing with it way more than I like looking at it or holding it. So those are the ratings. Let's give it some measurements. So capped, it is 134 millimeters. Uncapped is 121 millimeters. Posted is 158 millimeters. So it's pretty long. It doesn't post very deep, honestly. And I'm not going to jam that on there because it's a vintage pen that I've took a lot of time polishing and making sure it looked nice and shiny. The section at the narrowest is 8 millimeters, but because there's no taper, the narrowest is right at the nib, so you probably wouldn't hold there. You probably hold a little bit further back, which is where it's about 10 millimeters. And the weight is 15 grams, so it's actually not the lightest pen. So those are the ratings and the measurements. Let's do the writing sample, and then we're done. Okay, so let's do a writing sample. This is the Parker Victory. Parker Victory. The nib is, I would call it a medium. The ink is Waterman's Serenity, I guess you call it. Quick Brown Fox jumps over Lazy Dog. Now, there were a couple skips in there, and I think it's, well, this is very smooth paper, and I just inked this up after having it sit for a while. But the longer you write with it, the better it is. Let's see if the feed keeps up to the fast writing. I think it does pretty well. Reverse writing. It dries out right away. Can't really do it. It is quite fine. I really like the fact this is a vintage pen, but it's still got a nice medium line on it. Yeah, but this is where it's lots of fun. You can squeeze out a lot of line variation. It does have a decent amount of flex. But again, there have been a couple of skips along the way, which is a little bit too bad, but it's being a vintage pen, I think it's doing not bad for as old as it is. And honestly, once you start writing with it, it writes pretty nicely. So thanks for watching. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you feel like subscribing, feel free. There's plenty of videos, plenty more to come. Until then. Oh right, is it a wet writer? I think you can see by the saturation there that it is quite wet. Anyways, thanks for watching. Goodbye.